Hello and welcome to the More Cheese, Less Whiskers.com podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we're talking with Ricardo Vasquez from Toronto. And Ricardo's got something pretty neat. He's working on creating a system and a community and a membership program for people who want to pursue mixed martial arts, MMA. And so we had a great conversation since he's just getting started on, he's been a lifetime MMA, practitioner. He's been involved in it for a very long time, has a real passion for it, and he's just getting started with it as a business. And so we talked a lot about how to get things started. How do you start with a big vision for something that you could have a global community, but what does it really mean to get started with something like that? Where do you begin? And how do you structure it and organize it so that you've got a scalable unit, that you have what we call a scale-ready algorithm? So I think you're going to enjoy this episode. Here we go. Ricardo Vasquez.
Hey, Dean, how's it going?
Good. That sounds like a prize-winning MMA fighter name.
Yeah, I wish, man.
That sounds like the name of a champion. So, welcome. Where are
Thanks,
you?
man.
Where are you calling from?
I'm in Toronto.
Hey, perfect. Is it warm enough for me yet?
No, man, you don't want to come here right now. It's too cold.
Okay, I'm not going to be there till the first week in June, so hopefully we'll have plenty of time.
You should be okay for June. It's a little wet right now. It's 11 degrees Celsius, so it's still
That's
probably
not
too cold
enough.
for you. Too cold for me, man. I wish I
That's
was
not
wearing
enough.
it.
So, where in Toronto are you?
Well, actually, right at this very moment, I'm in Whitby.
Okay.
But I'm in like East Toronto, Scarborough. I know you're
Okay.
from Toronto, right? Originally?
Yeah. I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Halton Hills.
So I'm yeah, that's right. So I'm in the Scarborough, East Toronto area.
Okay, perfect. So let's get right to it. We got the whole hour here, and seems like you got some cool stuff going on. I want to hear all about it.
Cool. Before we go on, just want to make sure you can hear me okay. I'm actually in the car speaker thing here. So I hope you can hear me okay. It should be okay here.
Yes, it's great.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, so tell me the backstory so far, and then what we're gonna focus on.
Right. Okay. So right now, I have a site. It's MMAwarriorcircle.com, and basically, what it is an online MMA training through digital products.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just recently been kind of changing some things up as far as what I'm hoping to offer my ideal customers.
Mm-hmm.
So how I tried to narrow it down is from wimp to fight ready. That's basically what I'm trying to put together. So taking somebody from defenseless to actually being able to defend themselves, and the pinnacle being mixed martial arts and all the components that go into it. Now there's a little bit of a twist, which is I'm a big fan of accelerated learning and like mnemonics and stuff. I'm really into the memory stuff. So I wanted to combine speed learning into it. In other words, how to utilize speed learning principles and methodologies and apply it to mixed martial arts.
Okay.
And so that they can get from A to B as quickly as possible. It's not like a quick rich or cutting shortcuts or anything like that, but
right.
Just trying to accelerate the process, because a lot of people make a lot of mistakes, including myself. That they lose years when in months you could actually get much further if you followed these principles. So that's kind of where I'm at, and still very new. I'm still trying to find the language and identify my target market and all that cool stuff you talk about in the podcast. So I'm very
So
much green with it.
are you live right now and working with people? Like, are you making sales, or is this you're getting ready to launch this?
I'm getting ready to relaunch it. I had launched it
Okay.
in the past. It was a completely different business model. It was more almost like more of a hobby, but now I'm ready to launch and get more serious.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've just started to put some stuff up as far as lead magnets and things like that. So that's
Gotcha.
where I'm at. Um, Another thing I should mention is I was just conflicted as far as the business model I wanted to use, because there's another site called bjjfanatic.com, and
Mm-hmm.
what they've done is they basically partner with different high level instructors and martial artists,
Yes.
and they kind of work together and create courses. Now this is specific to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, but
Right.
um, it's something that I like the idea behind it, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know everything, and there are a lot of experts outside of my area of expertise that's still within MMA that I would
Mm-hmm.
like to joint venture with, and that's where I wasn't sure as to go that route or just to be the one providing the information.
Right.
So
So when you look at it, because there's a different thing between somebody who's, an MMA fan who would know these people. Like you think about, you're talking about that they're celebrity or famous. But there's the thing about niches is that those people are famous because you're an MMA fan. They're not famous outside of that world. Just like when you look at it, that people in the marketing world, I'm much more famous than in the real world. That people know
yeah,
marketing and know stuff that I might have some celebrity status, but in the real world, in terms of 1,000 people, just in general, might not know um, who I am or who they are. So you want to kind of think that through in terms of who your target audience is. Like, if you're thinking about just people who are looking at this as something because they want to go from helpless, as you said, to able to defend themselves and confident in everyday living kind of social situations like that. That's one thing versus someone who is aspiring to be an MMA superstar, you know?
right.
And so, which end of the scale are you thinking? Like, it sounded like you were looking for people who are maybe new to MMA, that they're interested in, um, this confidence or being able to defend themselves or um, confident, as
Right.
opposed to people who are looking to become MMA fighters.
Yeah, and so I had actually narrowed down some different profiles or avatars as
Yeah,
to who could potentially be, who I could potentially speak to.
yeah.
And there's a handful of them.
Mm-hmm,
And, like the actual pro fighter, the aspiring fighter, the coach.
mm-hmm,
There's coaches out there who have fighters under their belt, but not the coach fighters.
mm-hmm.
And then there's the weekend warrior, somebody who kind of they're just doing it to stay in shape, but they also like the idea of being able to defend themselves. And then there's the raw beginner who wants to get into it,
Yeah,
who's probably a fan of the sport as well.
yeah.
Um, and they kind of just think, they probably don't want to fight professionally or anything like that, but
Right.
they would like to be able to train and be at a level where they could definitely, um, you know, they could definitely defend themselves if needed. And
Yeah.
so as far as where I'm at right now, I think I've narrowed it down to more than likely either the weekend warrior or the person who's kind of just getting into it.
Uh-huh.
So like a beginner.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
because I feel like I have much more to offer. But again, I haven't really tested, and I'm not 100% sure. And I know that that's a really important decision, right?
It is.
So,
And I mean, so much of it is you've got to figure out, like, a lot of times we talk about selecting a single target market as profit activator one. Um, and a lot of that goes with really getting clear on what your during unit is going to be about, right? What is profit activator 5? What's the dream come true result that you're able to achieve for people? So if you start with that, with the the circle of things and skills and insight and knowledge and capability that you have to actually get somebody an outcome, we could start with that and then look for the ideal person who that matches up with. So when you look at it, what's your position in the MMA world? Are you famous in that world? Are you a former or current, you know, uh, champion fighter? Are you a recognized, like, expert in the industry, or are you a student of it who's become a real fan and realized you could teach people this? What's your position in that world?
so my position in that world is I'm an experienced martial artist myself since a little kid, and I'm a full-time martial artist. In other words, I train every single day. It's much more than just a hobby to me. I don't actively compete. However, I do train with and help, amateur and pro fighters prepare and as a training partner. So I have a lot of knowledge within the actual combat itself and
Mm-hmm.
the other areas that are within it, like exercise science and sport psychology, those things. But I wouldn't say no. I'm definitely not well known in it at all. But I do have a lot of knowledge that I help a lot of beginners as well. Like I have friends who are like, hey man, I really want to learn because it's contagious when you see somebody that really likes what they're doing. That enthusiasm oftentimes carries over to them, and they want to know more, right?
Yeah.
So
And there's a difference, like, that's, when you look at it, and there's no right or wrong about what your actual position is. It's just being aware of it. So I have a client who has karate schools, but he's a 5-time world champion karate master, right? So that's a position that is expert. I'm 5-time world champion. I can show you how to do this kind of thing, right? There's that level of credibility in it. But then there's a thing where if you are the head fan kind of thing, a student, that's a really good position too. I think about my friend Will that owns fuzzyyellowballs.com. And fuzzyyellowballs.com is a tennis instruction website. And there's probably an opportunity to model some of how that works, but they kind of set up, he partners with the experts to create courses that are part of his membership program. So they've got the core instructional stuff, like, ground strokes and the volleys and serve and all the core things of what you need to learn. But then they also have all these, you can learn doubles from the Bryan brothers, who are the best doubles team ever, or you can learn tennis from Patrick Rafter, a former number 1 player in the world. And so he partners with them, creates, like, before, this was the great thing, he was doing it before masterclass. Have you seen those masterclass videos online?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so essentially same kind of thing, right? Like taking this master at one element of whatever the elements are of what you do, and having a master class with that one person going deep, Like, I think that part of when you look at this, it's probably going to supplement their their martial arts practice, because you're not gonna, it's one of those things, like, you can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar, right? It's the same. You can't teach somebody to fight online. That's really the same thing, right? You've got to actually get in and do it,
That's right. Yeah, they definitely need a place where they can train and a training partner in most cases.
Yes. So that then, since you're in this situation and you've got a general audience, I mean, you're not talking about a super small niche market. I mean, MMA is mainstream and it's become popular, so everybody knows about it, and it's become, a popular training method. So it may be a great opportunity for you to create a hybrid program where there is a live component to it that the online stuff is supplementing,
Right.
and perhaps even look at that then as a licensing or a syndication or even a franchise type of situation.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Because you're looking at it that you're in a situation right now where you've got, you're thinking you want to do an online business which can reach the world. But the reality is there's enough people in Scarborough that would be a good start for this, right?
Right.
And you want to think about how can somebody actually get the outcome, So I think that's how I would be thinking about this is, do you have any students right now that are going through your programs or that are that you're working with right now?
I have a couple of friends that I'm working with and kind of helping them out, and they're at different levels of their development, and I'm actually using them as guinea pigs in exchange for me kind of creating my own style, my own system in a way, right? And so that's been really helpful.
And that's smart. And are you documenting that on video right now?
I'm not documenting, like I record our sessions, but I only use them for my own feedback. Like I don't put it out there, and I take a lot of notes as to certain ways I teach something or I'm trying to illustrate something. I might later go back and be like, okay, this was really effective, because I want it to be like fundamental based in that there's 1,000,001 techniques, but a lot of them will have a concept that if you understand the concept, you can begin to apply it, and you don't necessarily need to memorize 1,000,000 techniques. Once you understand the concept, it makes sense, and that comes from speed learning, like in anything else. And that's where I'm learning every day. Like, okay, this applies to this, and this applies to that, and I'm kind of creating trying to systemize it, right?
Yeah.
Like you said like a franchise situation. I'm looking at it from that perspective of how can I package this that it could actually be sold independent of myself later.
Yes, perfect. There you go. So we're on the same page then. Do you have a home base for it? Do you have do you call it a dojo, or what do you call the place?
Well, yeah. I mean, where I train out of, I train out of a couple of different gyms. You can call them dojos. We call them our gyms, but because I do like kickboxing and wrestling, so they're different places. But primarily, I do have a home. It's not my personal gym,
right?
Itself. I do have my own coach that I work with.
But and would that be your goal to have a place of your own?
Yeah, it's a long-term goal. Eventually, I would like to have my own facility that encompasses everything that I'm into. It's not really a short-term goal I have at the moment, but it is something I would eventually like to have.
Okay.
Because I'm really into the whole exercise stuff behind it, the fitness and all that cool
Sure, sure. And that's part of the thing is that, you've got something that you're building right now. And so it makes sense to build from the closest perimeter kind of thing. If you think about like right around you, you start with you got a couple of your buddies, like you grab them, and maybe you get some that represent the different avatars that you are approaching there, and you get to use those as your laboratory that you get to document everything that you're doing there. And that's kind of a asset as you go further down the road. Like what would be really great for you to have right now is a documented journey of 10 people that you helped completely transform in the last 12 months. That would be something that would be valuable for you to have right now. But
Okay.
you don't. So we need to start that process now so that 12 months from now, you've got a document of what can happen in 12 months,
Right. So almost like case studies that I could
Yes,
use later on, right?
that's exactly right. And so
And
you start
when
to
you say
think,
that, I've been thinking about that too.
yeah, so you start to think about what would be the outcomes that you're able to create. I mean, you've got your list of the things that you mentioned, that it could start with with an assessment. Do you have any kind of way to measure competency or their knowledge or their confidence or their, what would be the things that if you were to take a snapshot of quantifying the condition of your beginning subject, right, on day one, and what those numbers or quantifications or qualitative improvements would be at 6 months, at 9 months, at 12 months kind of thing.
I haven't put it down specifically in a system, but I do kind of use certain things that I gauge as to where they're at and what they need to focus on.
Perfect. So that's the kind of things is looking at the roadmap to be able to mark improvement. Right? If you don't know where they start, if you can't articulate and quantify the starting point, then it's difficult to point to the improvement.
Right.
So that's what you really want is to start, laying out what your proprietary metrics are, in that what are the metrics that you measure that when you say them, everybody is on the same playbook,
Right.
Because when you're creating a big movement like that, you part of it is being able to create your own language, so that insiders feel like they're on the inside of that, right? Like when you look at what CrossFit has done with the WODs, the workout of the day, that brought that word. When you say WOD into somebody who's a CrossFitter, they know what that means.
Yeah, that's a great example.
Yes,
I totally agree.
So
it's funny you use the word roadmap, which is actually the same word that I used when I was writing down. Like I have a lot of like I'm in the process of trying to systemize it all, and
yes,
like you said, creating systems for everything. Like how do you gauge where someone's at? How do you get them from A to B, and how can we turn it into an actual system that's duplicatable and can be taught or online or by other instructors? Because I've already been thinking that way, right? After so the roadmap, I wanted to actually give them a specific roadmap from A to Z, and then complement, like you said, you gave me that idea now. It's a complement throughout the roadmap, or once they reach certain pit stops, they can complement that fundamental training with perhaps an expert in whatever it is. Let's say grappling, and I could partner with them and say, hey, we can put this course together. It's a little bit more experienced, more advanced. But if you really want to go deep on this, I partnered with, so and so, and this course is available separate. It's kind of outside of the roadmap. It's not required, but if you really want to go deep in it,
right,
really go deep. So that idea sounds really cool as well.
Yeah. That's the whole point. So if you think about that as an ongoing, if you're thinking about building it as a membership site type of thing, that would be the kinds of things that you can, add and build into it.
Right.
Or they could be things that you could sell separately,
Yeah. It's that's where the main idea was. I was thinking a membership site, like a continuity thing.
Yeah.
But what I found was in the past when trying to do joint ventures, the issue with the membership site I ran into was that the instructors felt like if they're paying a membership fee, how are they supposed to differentiate when they got into your membership through their course or through the other instructor's course? So I thought that's where I came up after doing research and stuff. It would make sense to have my own roadmap and then complement the courses that I joint venture outside of it, so there's no like conflict.
Right.
Maybe I'm missing something, but that's the only solution I thought made sense, right?
Yeah, you want to control the frame, right? You're creating the playing field, right? This is the context for it. Like, so in our world, the 8 profit activators and the before, during, after are like the context of everything that I do. And then the individual profit activators all have so much depth underneath them, right? So everything fits into one of those 8 containers.
Right.
And I think would be a good thing if you've got your roadmap there. On the real estate side, I have our the framework, or the context is the listing agent lifestyle, and we've got 8 elements of the listing agent lifestyle that make up the framework. So we talk about the 5 business elements of getting listings, multiplying their listings, getting referrals, converting leads, finding buyers. And then we've got the 3 lifestyle elements of abundant time and daily joy and financial peace. All of everything that we're talking about fits in those 8 buckets, the 8 frameworks there. And we've got our own metrics to measure each of those, including starting with a scorecard where people can see where they are in relation to those,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, so I think that's really what you're looking for. Is you're at the very early stages of creating what could be a big thing, but you're just looking at, you've got to set the context right first and then fill it out as you go.
Okay, so diving deeper into that, specifically with the roadmap in itself, does it make sense? Like you said, does it make sense to map it out, I guess, in advance?
Yes, of course.
And obviously document each step along the way and how you gauge where people are at.
Yeah, because you've got to have, right now, you've got to have a hypothesis, like you've got to have this is where we're heading. This is where I think I can take you kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And that goes a long way, just having that you've got the map, that it's a journey that somebody wants to take,
Right.
And it really starts with the 2 endpoints. It's like here's where you are right now, and here's where we want to go. This is the promised land, or where we're headed. And in order to get to the promised land, we've got to pass through all of these areas here, right? So if I'm saying to people that in the promised land, as far as getting listings, you've got a system that that people who want to sell their house will call you, and that you don't have to make any outbound phone calls, and they call you to come and list their house. That's the promised land, right? Now, in order to get there, we've got to choose the area where you want to get listings, and we've got to mail them postcards that get them to raise their hand, and then we've got to have a newsletter and follow up to mail to them every month until they're ready to list their house. And so you start to document that. And it's funny now, I just realized that you're in Scarborough. Well, I've got a 5-year case study that I did with Tony Kelsey in Scarborough, who is he's in our go-go agent world, and he's the guy who's I've been documenting the Getting Listings program with him.
That's hilarious. Small world.
It is funny. So if you live in that Scarborough area, you probably get his postcards or something,
Well, here's the thing. I actually originally heard about you through the real estate. I was an agent at one point. Yeah.
Oh,
I was
that's so funny.
Agent. And I came across your stuff, and your stuff inspired me to get into more the route of info marketing and Joe Polish and all that cool stuff. So it kind of like worked around. Yeah. So I've been a fan of your work for a long time, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. But so that's really cool. So can I just tell you one thing I'm working on to give you a kind of where I'm at, right? Of
course.
With this whole thing. Okay, so within the combat itself, there's like three main ranges of combat, right? And one of them being striking range, which means you can hit your opponent or they can hit you using all your long range weapons, your punches and your kicks.
Uh-huh.
So as I broke down, okay, what are the fundamental areas that one would need to focus on? There's certain key areas. I narrowed it down to footwork being the first thing and the most important when it comes to striking. And so I created a lead magnet, which is like just a little mini course, very, very straightforward, but it's the beginning of like how to develop your stance. And I have like a blog post that I'm putting together to go with it. But I've already started to lay down the foundation of like that roadmap. And that will be targeting people who are just getting started. Like, what would be the first thing? What would be your stance? And understanding footwork and how it plays out in a fight or in any situation. If you're standing,
Oh, sorry. Are you there?
I'm there. I'm here.
Okay, sorry. I pushed the button by accident. Right.
So anyways, that's one of the lead magnets I'm rolling out. And
has it worked yet so far, or have you?
I'm literally just going to be launching that specific lead magnet in the next 2 weeks. It'll be completed.
Gotcha.
I'm going to be driving traffic to the blog post, which will then retarget and drive them to that lead magnet. And then I have like a little survey or quiz, kind of figuring out what's their frustrations within that area, and then based off that, I'm going to create some kind of an offer, like a little low ticket front end offer. Because at this point, I'm just kind of validating the idea, right? I'm not sure. So I just wanted to get your feedback, what you thought, if that's a process that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's on the right thing. Like if that's one of the elements, right? Like if you're going to be the total package, you've got to master striking distance or whatever those things are. That's certainly one of the elements. That's just like with the listing agent lifestyle. You've got to master getting listings, and you got to master getting referrals and converting leads. So those, definitely those are the big bucket container things.
Exactly. Yeah.
And once you get those right, those are like the boundaries of your, those are the boundaries of the stuff, you know?
Exactly. And like,
Yeah.
you can go really deep into it, and then there's like guys that are at the top of the pyramid as far as striking, which that's much later though. Whereas originally I was thinking of doing that from the beginning. It did once I started to think as far as systemizing, it didn't make sense like to start with that because that's not where that's you're kind of jumping to Z right away, right?
Yeah. So that's all. Mm-hmm. So that's all good then. Getting all of that kind of outlined would be a great first step here because that's going to form the foundation of everything. Then you can see that within that striking distance, there's how many different layers of that are there. I mean, there's all of the everything it happens. Strikes all happen in there. But then there's takedowns, I imagine, would be another one, right? Or excuse me. All the grappling, all the grappling things, and so I think when you look at what are the big contexts of it, that's going to shape everything, and then people can zoom into that channel, and really go down, and then they can, assess themselves as a master of that or as something that needs some work and monitor improvement.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's where I'm just trying to take something that's very complex and complicated and make it simple and make it easy to understand. Because a lot of people, they'll jump from one thing to the other, and in this particular niche, I understand it, I live it, and I know exactly what that frustration is like.
Yeah.
So to be able to document it in a way that's to make it as simple as possible is what I'm currently doing.
Yes. Right? Perfect. I like what I'm hearing.
So there's a lot of different components, but I've narrowed it to 3 main areas. It's much easier to think about 3 areas versus 51 or whatever, right?
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of like our before unit, during unit, and after unit, right? So that's 3 is easy to understand. But then when you want to go a little more granular, there's some subdivision underneath each of those 3 to get us to our 8 profit activators then. Because there's, 4 profit activators that make up the before unit, and 2 for the during unit, and 2 for the after unit.
Exactly, and I'm actually using those the principles of how you lay those things out. Mm-hmm. I'm actually applying it to my niche because it's very helpful to understand something when you narrow it that way.
Yeah,
it's been very helpful for me, and it's serving as inspiration to use it in my own niche, right, with my own language. So, I think I'm on the right track. I just don't know. For me, the difficulty has been I don't know how to perhaps articulate it or to know if I'm on the right path, if that's what people actually really even want,
Yeah. And there's the thing, it doesn't matter necessarily what they want or if they need. Like, so when I look at it, that in the marketing side of things that we're doing with the entrepreneurs, since there's all kinds of different businesses, what I'm teaching are the 8 profit activators, which is the framework for all of it, right? So that universally applies to all businesses. But when I talk to the real estate agents, I don't need to teach them the 8 profit activators because I've already applied the 8 profit activators to the real estate business. So I've already got the solutions for them. The difference is it's like one is music theory, like I'm teaching people how the structure of songs in the 8 profit activators. And what I'm doing on the real estate side is I'm providing sheet music for songs that I've already written. If you want to sing a song called How Do I Get Listings? I've applied the 8 profit activators to that. Let's select a single target market, lakefront homeowners. Let's use Profit Activator 2 to get them to raise their hand. Let's send a postcard offering the April 2019 report on Winter Haven lakefront house prices. Profit Activator 3, let's educate and motivate them. So we send the newsletter. We have a Get Top Dollar newsletter that we send every month, along with a cover letter and some information on what's happened in the last 30 days. Profit Activator 4, let's make an offer that makes it easy for people to take the next step. So we use, whenever you're ready, here's how we can help you. We've got a pinpoint price analysis, a room-by-room review, or our silent market. So all of those things, that song was written using the construct of the 8 profit activators, but they don't need to know the 8 profit activators, or I don't even explain the 8 profit activators to them to do it, because I've already written the song. All you need to know is how to play this song.
Right. Okay.
So the same thing, it's more important for you to know where it all fits and that you keep people on track,
Yes. Okay.
It's your organizing blueprint for how it all fits together.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And actually that brings up a question.
Uh-huh.
So when selecting a target market, do you recommend selecting a target market and then kind of articulating that before and after, that whole journey or transformation after you select the target? Or do you recommend starting with, what that journey looks like and then saying who is the ideal person to target?
That's exactly it. I want to start with you is like, first of all, in order to create a dream come true in Profit Activator 5, we want to start with what would be a dream come true for you. Right? What do you want the dream to be? And then what do you know how to do? What do you know how to create? What's the best result that you could create for somebody? And then who is the person that would fit into that world, So if you're saying it was kind of visual and intriguing when you were initially talking about taking someone who's, from helpless, from wimp to fighter, that creates a very visual thing. And so when you imagine if that's your thing, that's really that's the person that you want to be able to attract. And there's a lot of track record of people in that world, like I think about Vince Del Monte in Canada there. He's a pro fitness model, but he helps people add muscle. And, his heart was for helping skinny guys build size, because he was teased as Skinny Vinny, when he was growing up. And that was his whole thing, is that he learned how to pack on muscle. And now he's this, super fit fitness model. So he's coming from that backstory of, I was teased and skinny and I, embarrassed, and I learned how to pack on this muscle fast. And that is an appealing thing to people who want to do the same thing that Vinny did.
Right.
Yeah. So if you take that same thing, that there's an avatar for when you say a wimp, what does that person look like? Who personifies that? And if you can take somebody that looks just like, or feels or sounds or appears just like me, if I'm your ideal, and you're documenting this transformation over the 6 months to a year with somebody, that's going to be inspiring, because if they did it, I watched it happen.
Right.
Yeah. And I want to get that result.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to hear that, because that's how I did it. I clearly defined what I want it to look like and what I can contribute. And that's why I was more leaning to, more so the beginner.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've already done that for people. I just didn't document it or systemize it, but I've seen it in action, right?
Yep.
Even in myself, on my own, like I've actually walked that journey.
Yeah.
Going from helpless to, confident that I could defend myself in most situations. So,
so there's the thing, is that, first of all, the three steps there is that, I call the 3D model here, is that you got to be able to do it, which is one thing. Then you got to document it so that you know what you did. And then you got to be able to duplicate it.
Yes.
And so when you get to that model, if you can do it and you've documented it and you can duplicate it, now you're ready to scale.
That's cool. Yeah. So another little bit of a challenge is, and perhaps it's a challenge I've made up in my own mind, but it is a realistic challenge, is that a lot, like everywhere you go, there are gyms. And that's a great thing. That means that there's money in the niche.
Yes.
But the challenge of it is, when you go to a gym, they kind of have their own, they do their own thing, right?
Yes.
And
right.
so when you go there, you can't say, hey, I'm watching this guy online, I'm just going to do this. They're going to tell you, get out.
Right.
We're doing it my way, right?
Yes.
So that's where I'm wondering where we could fit in to,
well, let me ask you this: with the things you do, is it required? Do you need a gym to do it? Like, I think about it. It's an interesting thing, like when you think about maybe thinking outside of the box there. What do you really need? What kind of an environment do you really need?
You're absolutely right. You don't specifically need a gym, but what you do need, there's a lot of the stuff, like when working footwork drills, if you're just starting out, you just kind of need any space.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about actually being effective, you do 100% need a training partner.
Yes.
Like, because if you don't have experience, somebody trying to actually hit you, you're not going to get better. That's just the reality. And you need some kind of space, and you do need mats. Definitely for takedowns and grappling, you need mats.
Right, of course.
So you don't specifically need to be, join an MMA gym, but you do need at least like 150 square foot of space, and you need mats, and you need a training partner. Those are the three things you must have.
Right. So is there a way to think about creating a pop-up space like that somewhere?
I had thought about that. So Gracie University, I don't know if you know the Gracies.
Well, I was going to use the Gracies as an example, because Eben Pagan and I went to the Gracie dojo in LA.
Awesome.
Years ago. Yeah. And that's an interesting thing. Like, there's an example that we were there 20 years ago, right? Before MMA was really like, this was back when MMA was cage fighting, really, right? It was just starting to be a gentleman's sport kind of thing, right? And the Gracies were the dominant, empire of that. They were the ones the legacy, and they had this dojo in LA that was like the Mecca, that's the place kind of thing. And that's where I think we're at a situation now where you could almost create that same kind of vibe around something, that you can create the home of this method of what you're talking about. But when you go there, they play this video on a loop of all of these other practitioners coming to their place, trying to take on Hickson. Gracie was I think Hickson, or I forget what their names were, but whoever the main guy was. And time after time, this kung fu master comes to do it, and Gracie sweeps the leg, takes him down, and it's over.
Yeah.
And it's just like documenting again and again and again on a loop all of these world champions that he's taking down and winning. But that's the kind of movement that you can create.
Yeah, so what they have is they actually have that. It started with the Gracie headquarters, which is where you're talking about in LA there.
Yeah.
And they actually started GracieUniversity.com.
Uh-huh.
And what's cool is they did exactly this. It's like from raw beginner to a black belt.
Yeah.
And they systemized everything into chapters and mods, very well organized. Like I'm a member and I learn a lot from them too, because I actually believe in online training. It's just, you just do need a good partner and you need a place. So what they started was, it's called Gracie Garage.
Okay.
And what it is you can actually set up garages, and they can certify you, kind of thing. And you can have a Gracie Garage, and you can play their videos and learn. And I've actually gone to a Gracie Garage in Oshawa, where I went in there skeptical. I was like, let's see what these guys are up to, because I had my wrestling coaches and all that. And when I went there, I was impressed, man, because these guys had no background. They weren't part of a gym. They had no affiliate. Like, they were just doing what they were learning, and I was very impressed at how good they were and how structurally sound. And that's where it sparked like that idea in me, like, wow, you know what? I could do this in my own thing.
Yes. And that's the kind of thing when you look at it that, I think about Fit Body Boot Camp. Those guys like Bedros Keuilian, they've built, a huge thing. And that started out people doing boot camps in a park or in a school gym or wherever.
Right. And I could see how building that, I could see how that could work, and it would be cool, because then, like, they have this network thing on their website where now they're huge. You can literally put in your city, and you can put in someone who's looking for a training partner. You can put your weight class, your belt rank, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it'll pop up like 10 guys in my area.
Right.
And I've actually reached out and said, hey, do you want to train it? It's really cool. I've met a couple people like that, and I was like, I would do the same thing for my MMA thing. But that's something that, that takes time, and that's down the line. So my thing is, how do you get from where you don't have that to, convincing people like, hey, this is...
You start it in Scarborough.
Okay.
You start it there. You start with the epicenter. It's like most of the time people, in the old world, to go and spread a message, you had to go far and wide and bring the message out to people, right?
Yeah.
And now you could stay right there in Scarborough and bring the whole world to Scarborough. You could be this beacon,
Right.
Because you can live stream, you can everything. It becomes the world headquarters for it.
So you're saying to perhaps set up my own little spot?
Yeah, I'm saying that you need to, whatever this is going to be, you want to set up the prototype for it, that you are your subject one. You're the prototype of this. Just like McDonald's started with one hamburger restaurant in California.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
So, like, a buddy's basement to show, hey, if you know someone with a basement, you guys can get started.
Yes, that's exactly right. Fight Club. It's almost what it comes down to.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's something.
Yeah. And that's a thing. I mean, I don't know whether you have any, whether that's like not the right vibe of what you're talking about, but that's kind of a thing that, has an underground kind of appeal to it or whatever.
No, it's exactly what it's exactly in line with my vision for what I have for it. Right.
Yeah.
It's
right.
Just, I've had a little struggle with how to articulate it or how to kind of set it in motion. Right.
Yes.
But definitely it falls in line with exactly what I've seen in my own mind and what I've written down, and everything we talked about makes sense. It's kind of like where I want to head there, right?
So we just need to nail your thinking down to the 3 steps that talk about those 3Ds. Do it, document it, duplicate it. That I think that you've got to have the discipline to put your blinders on, narrow your focus to just immediately around you, and take the buddies that you're working with right now, the ones that you've been using as your laboratory to kind of prove that you can do it, is that first level of it. Then the next level of it is can you duplicate it with 10 people? No more. Just 10 people.
Right.
And as you're doing that, you're documenting it, So that's really the level there, that as you're documenting it, that you're using those 10 as the way to document everything and seeing what your success rate is and seeing what the outcome is and documenting all of those results. And then duplicating it would be going out now to 100 people within the boundaries of Scarborough, That's really the thing, is just narrow your focus there.
Okay.
And then when you've got that, now you're like, now you show people, here's how you do it.
Right. Because now it's an actual system.
Yes.
That's duplicatable.
Yep.
Okay. Now, to get from, like you say, the 3Ds, which is cool, to go from that to, from A to Z and that for myself, that will take time. In the meantime,
yes,
what makes sense to do? I guess continue to build my subscriber base and audience, and because that's also part of it too, right? Obviously.
Yeah, but I think part of it is, let's see, if you just constrain your lead generation and stuff to, the east side of Toronto there on a radius of within your area, that helps you feed everything,
Oh, okay.
Like all of this, you don't want to go out too soon but you want to go out with the model in place,
Okay, see.
And it doesn't matter. You're not gaining anything by attracting people from Poughkeepsie right now, because you're not. It's not what this is about yet,
Right. Okay. So even my lead generation efforts should be tailored to the specific
because
area.
You've got to. You want to start building an incubator that when it comes time that you want to go from, you want to find your first 10 people that you want to work with. You want to find them right there in Scarborough,
Right.
And then you want to expand out so that you're going to multiply to 100. So maybe you want to get 1,000 subscribers in East Toronto,
Right.
That's the thing. I mean, you look at it. So my girlfriend has a a studio here in Winter Haven called Amazing Brows and Lashes, and we've been focused on list building, and she's generated a list of 2,500 ladies between 30 and 55 in Winter Haven that are all interested in eyebrows and lashes. So she's got this annuity now that every time she sends a weekly email out to everybody, and every time she sends emails, people book stuff with her.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Right. So I think that's where you want to start, right? You want to start like, what would it look like? What are you trying to duplicate? If you're, going to offer this to someone else to do what you've done in Mississauga,
right.
That's how you want to think about this.
Okay. So it's almost like I'm looking at it as I'm building the prototype that I can then later repackage and sell.
Yep.
In a sense, whether it's online or even in physical locations, to say, hey, you guys can take this system and like as a franchise kind of thing.
Right. That's exactly right. Yes.
You have to build that first prototype using the 3Ds that you're talking about.
Yeah. You have to show them what that is. Right. So you've just shown, and then it's the same thing. It's like now you've got level 2 of the 3Ds, right? That now the level 2 of the 3Ds is you've built Scarborough into a mature thing, right? You've done that. So you've done it. You've got to a point where it's a mature thing. You went through the 3Ds there. Now you've got to, document what you do to do it again. You need to prove that you can now do what you did in Scarborough. You need to be able to do that in Mississauga or in Ottawa or wherever. Pick another area.
Yes, exactly.
And you got to document all the things. You got to document all the things that somebody does in following your documented plan. You got to see that the way I documented this, is this easy for someone else to duplicate?
Right. Because when I'm not there, it's going to be obviously slightly different.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so you watch that and observe it, and you're going to learn from that. And then once you've successfully duplicated what you did in Scarborough in Mississauga, now you've got, let's go with 10 of those and try it in 10 other places. And then you're good to go,
Right. Okay. Sounds really interesting.
It's pretty exciting. Like, the thing is, when you get down to those manageable scales, it doesn't, it keeps you focused on the activity. What's distracting or discouraging is when you're trying to go too fast, right? When you're trying to get people excited about doing one in Mississauga or Ottawa, and you haven't done it yet in Scarborough.
Right.
So keeping yourself focused on those things and moving as fast as you can to document and duplicate what you've done.
Right. Okay.
But the good news is, once you do that, it's a solid foundation and you've got a long runway,
Yeah.
Assuming you've picked the right horse. If you pick the right horse, if MMA is going to last longer than, say, I don't know, Macarena dancing or something, right? That you've got something that's going to be here 20 years from now. Like, MMA has been here for a long time, and it's still going to be here 20 years from now.
I mean, it's still in it's children. It's like a child, and now the major deals they've got with ESPN, it's going to be a nationwide thing, and it's only growing. It's huge now, but it's only growing. So that's why it's a great time, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, just one last question with respect to that. And then while doing that, how would you, like, if it was you and you were doing this the way you kind of laid out, how would you make money along the way?
Well, you'd be making money. You'd be charging people. You'd be making money the same way, right? Like you're going to be doing it that's at the highest level, whatever people are, for getting the one-on-one help, right? You're thinking about the lower price things all as an outcropping, later of the being able to do it. Because you're creating, you're getting paid while you're creating the program, essentially.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So almost like coaching.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it. It's very exciting. It's a great model. It's one of my favorite models too,
Yeah, it's really interesting how that works. And I was inspired by the book The E-Myth, with the whole systemizing everything.
That's the book that changed my life. That's for sure.
Yeah, until reading that, never really thought of it like the franchise prototype. And now that I have, I approach everything with that mentality. Can I turn this into like a prototype? Can it be duplicatable? Can I scale? Even if I don't want to, I still want to create it that way because it just makes sense, right?
That's exactly right, because then it's saleable. You can sell it to somebody else, or you can replace yourself in it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I never really thought of it that way with this particular thing.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell you.
Okay, well, do something about that temperature for me, so it'll be warm and ready for me when I get up there in June.
If I can change the temperature, I'm starting a new business, my man.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. No. Awesome. Thanks, Ricardo.
Thank you, Dean. I really appreciate it.
Okay, have a great day.
You as well. Thanks.
And there we have it. Another great episode. Thanks for listening in. If you want to continue the conversation, we'll go deeper in how the 8 profit activators can apply to your business. 2 things you can do. Right now, you can go to morecheeselesswhiskers.com and you can download a copy of the More Cheese, Less Whiskers book. And you can listen to the back episodes, of course, if you're just listening here on iTunes. Secondly, the thing that we talk about in applying all of the 8 profit activators are part of the breakthrough DNA process. And you can download a book and a scorecard and watch a video all about the 8 profit activators at breakthroughdna.com. And that's a great place to start the journey in applying this scientific approach to growing your business. That's really the way we think about Breakthrough DNA, as an operating system that you can overlay on your existing business and immediately look for insights there. So that's it for this week. Have a great week, and we will be back next time with another episode of More Cheese, Less Whiskers.